Lowest interest rates in history, old news.
Yeah.
I guess the question on everybody's mind is, when is normal going to come back and what is it going to look like? Um, with building costs being as high as they are and interest rates being as low as they are, and everybody knowing if the Fed taps the brakes on interest rates, this tender economy will probably rot on the vine. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Everybody, it's Marcus Tuttle with the Wide World of Real Estate. Today's our second episode where me and Dave talk about a commercial deal where a guy uses an assumable mortgage. He assumed a mortgage and used that as a down payment for his commercial deal in the Northeast. So that, I guess we get in the weeds on that, and we talk about some current events, and we still are going forward with this endeavor and have a lot of excitement about it. It's taken a little bit of time to get off the ground as far as putting these episodes and keeping up with the regimen of doing that, but got a lot of ideas for content, so please enjoy.
Lowest interest rates in history, old news.
Yeah.
I guess the question on everybody's mind is, when is normal going to come back and what is it going to look like? With building costs being as high as they are and interest rates being as low as they are, and everybody knowing if the Fed taps the brakes on interest rates, this tender economy will probably rot on the vine. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I know Rachel and I in our business are plugging away pretty, consistently. We got one under contract that was bank owned this morning. A house probably ARV at about 130 grand, needs about 25 grand of work. We got it under contract at 45.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where your leads sourcing from?
Tracking foreclosures, went to the sale and they wanted 70 grand for it. We said, good luck. They called us, we exchanged numbers. They called us like a day later and said, let's go take a look at it with us. And we met the banker, one of the bankers over there. And, he wasn't used to going in foreclosed homes. It was pretty rough. It scared him pretty good, which is, what is hot water heater been taken out, air conditioner been taken out. He's like, there's a refrigerator. And I said, we never open refrigerators. And he opened the refrigerator and gagged. And he was like, yeah, 45's a good number. And I was like, okay,
That's the right smell.
Yeah.
That's the right smell for a discount.
So if we could just do the foreclosure sales at the properties, maybe that would be a better way to get some steals.
It wouldn't give them the luxury of being removed from that reality.
Old paper-handed, anyways. So get them out.
Yeah, man. Google threw me a curve. Started separating on my browsers with my other addresses. Can you see my screen?
Yeah. So what we're looking at here, what a little of your BMPN or
business BPMN, business process modeling notation.
Mm-hmm.
I dig it. I got some Udemy courses down, got a book on it, and it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, man, I got this Confessions of a Real Estate Investor, and it starts off with this commercial deal, and I thought it was kind of neat to. I started trying to do it on that Jamboard and just putting Post-its, but it's not robust. That thing going on. But there are these lanes you got in this initial. I'll just talk about it. It was 6,600 feet of flex space, which I guess might be some kind of flex space type structure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is in Connecticut, and these two partners got together, and the author is the real estate attorney involved in it. And Shelton, Connecticut changed the names of the innocent, and so it is flex style, which is a light industrial research and development, something like that. And he said his two buddies had done their homework, learning the Shelton market and specifically flex buildings, and like the one they were interested in. And they knew what kind of companies would be interested. So they just did some basic research, about 2 weeks of research, and they saw that the owner was prepared to sell for $5.5 million, and there was a tenant in it paying a triple net lease of $660,000 a year. So the problem was the tenant wasn't a good credit risk. So I can illustrate that real simply, saying here's the seller, right, and here's these two buddies. So there's flex space for sale, which is a conditional start, and then you got these other people that get wind of it, and then they put in a mortgage request. And meanwhile, they have here's the lease that they have, with 9.5 years left on it. It's got $1 million mortgage. So somewhere in the course of their dealings, they or the mortgagee, they accepted a mortgage of $1 million on this building from the owner. So probably some kind of occupancy deal, right? Are you there? Did I lose you?
So they're in the deal at this point. They've got seller financing, and they've given the owner first position mortgage for $1 million.
Well, this $1 billion is held by the tenant, not the owner. So, but it's assumable. And the cool thing is that when they go apply for this loan here, they have to get a couple things to happen. They have to get that tenant to subordinate what they got going on, and then they have this lender who says, well, you want me to lend 4.5, and it's got $1 million mortgage on it. Where are you coming in at with some money? They're trying to use this mortgage held by the tenant as the down payment for what they got going on for this loan. That's pretty slick.
When you're saying this mortgage held by the tenant, you mean the lease, the obligation, or is there actually a deed of trust mortgage that the tenant holds?
Yeah, they call it an actual mortgage. So
okay,
he got into them, or they did some repairs that were beyond the scope of what they wanted to mess with, and so they got him to, maybe they fronted the money in order to get the repairs done to get them to lease it. So he just put a debt instrument, a security instrument on it for some amount, for this amount of money.
Gotcha.
So they had to get, and they said, well, we don't want to subordinate if you're going to get $4.5 million. We want to be in first position. But these two guys were pretty slick in the fact that they said, well, listen, you're going to guarantee that the mortgage gets paid, and by you paying the mortgage and you paying, you're just paying the payment to you. So you pay the first and you pay the second, and therefore you'll never default if you think we're a bad credit risk.
Was it a score?
Yeah. Let's keep going. All right. So the seller sold and they're out. They bought for 5.5, and they assumed the $1 million loan held by the tenant, and held by the tenant, and they had about $100,000 in closing costs. So they argued that with the lender. Also, they said, well, $100,000 is not nothing, but so they got it. And the end, right? They just keep riding that $660,000 per year. But here's what else happened. So this tenant finds a subtenant that's going to cover their $660,000 for 4.5 years, and they found they'd also pay $880,000 for the remainder of their original 9.5 years.
Okay.
So they had to get approval from the owners, and they approve it even though they're not going to get any extra money. It's going to be, the extra is going to go to the tenant in their position. And so they approved it. These people vacated, and the subtenant, and so they got that subtenant, and then they vacated. Here's what else happened. The subtenant moved in, and they sold out their lease position, the tenant. So they, let's see, I might have got ahead of myself. So they vacated the building, and let's move on. So then they got the idea to buy out the original leases. So buy out this subtenant. And let's see.
What was their motivation for that?
I bet they thought they could get better financing if they controlled all the leases. So they got this idea that they wanted to buy out the rest of that $950 on that mortgage, and they wanted to buy out what they had coming for the next 5 years. So they were going to give this tenant the $1 million mortgage, and then he's got this income stream that, after the 4.5, he's going to have 5 years of 190 extra. That's what that means.
Okay.
So they said, well, that extra 5 times 190 in 5 years is only worth X number of dollars today. And so that tenant got out and they agreed. And so this is the next step. All right, here's what happened. So this other company says, well, we want to buy your company and assume the lease that you got going on. And so, we're going to have to get it approved. So they request the approval to get bought out, and that's why they initially wanted this building, is because they thought they were going to be able to get into a lease and then get bought out as a company, just because of whatever reasons. But this other company, they're a Fortune 100 company, and they were trying not to put their good credit, their stellar credit, on the line for this old lease. But these guys, these original owners, they stood strong, and they here they are. They require that the Fortune 100 company back the lease with their stellar credit rating, and that's what happened. They ended up going ahead and putting their credit on the line, and that meant they could go say, I got a Fortune 100 credit tenant, and should be able to lend more money. And after this sublease, they got another lender involved, not that first lender, but they refinanced. And here's how they did it: because they control the leases. They got that financing that lent them the $6 million. Lent them $6 million because they controlled the lease. Paid off the first, which is 4.5, and then the second and the lease payout. The second mortgage and the lease payout was 1.3 million, which meant they each put $50,000 in each of their pocket. But the cool part is, within 2 years, they turned this in because of that additional rent that they could project. In 5 years, they sold for $825,000, and they earned $3 million in profit within 2 years.
Wow!
With an initial $100,000 investment.
Are they in prison somewhere?
No, that's. It's a fascinating book. I'll diagram some more, but that was some high level stuff, right?
Yeah. I mean, just to be honest with you, I don't understand the lease. The leasee was holding the mortgage. I don't understand that. I don't understand the terminology, or if there's a different instrument that I can't quite grasp.
Well, you can give a mortgage to anybody. So you can give it to a bank as a security instrument, saying, if I don't pay this back, you get to do this with the laws of foreclosure. So that's all a mortgage does is security. Pledging the property. That's the legal way that you pledge your properties with a mortgage. And it's coupled with a note.
And so the leasee was the grantor of a mortgage.
Well, it works the other way. It was the mortgagee. So you give a mortgage to the bank. So they were the mortgagee. So they were the owner gave a mortgage to the leasee because, and secured it with that property or their improvements on the property. And the owner said, "Well, I'm gonna pay you this $1 million back that we had, that you used or in some kind of way negotiated that $1 million for yourself." And he said, you gave him credit toward that $1 million debt. Clear as mud.
Clear as mud. Pretty fascinating. And so this is in Connecticut, and I guess this is what these guys do just as a hobby or something. They just kind of
No, it's
they driving for dollars.
I don't know. I don't know how they found it.
Yeah.
But he did go out of the way to say that these were not the brilliant people of the world. He said they will tell you they're just average people that were, kind of, and they also admitted that they had no idea that this was going to happen at the onset of doing this deal. So I think I understand, I've had that happen on a lesser extent, but yeah, I know what you just don't know what's going to happen whenever you get into these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I covered that chapter pretty good. That's chapter 1. So, what have you been doing?
I mean, just based on what you were talking about, given this description, these guys are going to find, reposition, try to restructure. Not doing it on that scale, but steadily, always just trying to push the ball a little further down how can I make this deal a little sweeter? What can I do? I'm always some kind of amazed at how things work out, whenever you just try to get the ball down the field 3 yards at a time, and those guys are just saying, all right, let's get a better lease here, better finance in there, reposition, and it turns into, a couple years down the road, a $1 million profit. I've heard a bunch of my colleagues say, you make more money on the bigger properties, and I see why. It's just bigger, more zeros. Yep. But it's the same stuff, and I sometimes wonder, why have I pushed so hard on these $30,000-$40,000 houses instead of just doing bigger stuff? Then I always tell myself it's because I don't have enough money to get into big deals, but that's the evidence right there. It doesn't take a whole lot of money sometimes to get into a deal. But still pushing, man, still pushing and trying to get better financing and restructure things, find higher and better uses. But that's it. Still probably putting in too much sweat equity, I think I do that because I can wrap my head around it. It's like, all right, I can get in there and I can do that. I can swing the hammer. I can push the mower. Let's just get it done.
Don't have to beg somebody to be on site either.
Yeah, but it just doesn't do it. There's no payout from that. I'm tired at night and I sleep well, but what's that worth?
So happy. Yeah.
They got medication for that, like I don't need, but just steadily moving, man, trying to do it. I've been watching some of these, I don't know, Mr. Gunn putting out some of these publications about the Democrats coming after our IRAs. That's on the table again. I can't remember the famous guy's name who invested in PayPal and turned $2,000 into like $5 billion. And that's all in the newspapers now. They're trying to come after these super wealthy people who aren't paying taxes. And, I don't know if it's going to happen. And I try not to worry about it too much, kind of get caught up in the, what are they going to do if they blow up our IRAs? But it does get a little stressful sometimes to think that we've worked so hard, we're saving money, we're investing wisely, we're putting in tax-free accounts, and to think that just something like the sweep of a pen and some pissed off, senators can wreck that for us. Because I'm not a guy who invested $2,000 in PayPal and I'm sitting on $5 billion. If I was, we would be doing this podcast from the moon, but we're not. So we're doing it from our homes. But, so how do I keep my eye on the ball? How do we keep our eye on the ball and kind of look at what's relevant? I think that's the trick. How do we do that?
And try to manage a life through there.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting ready to go to the beach, the family vacation. So every day we're doing 2 or 3 hours of chores for that. Getting the tents ready, getting the fireworks, getting the watermelon shopping, whatever.
Right.
Um, because it can't be all work. But
Well, you want to see what Emin says?
yeah,
I'd say I subscribe to it. Then better use it somehow. It's like each day I'm like, man, do I need that? It's a pretty fluffy type news, but I guess there is some actual content. Y'all are going to Mississippi?
we're doing Fort Morgan, which is like west of Gulf Shores, west of Orange Beach. It's right on the other side of Mobile. It's super laid back. I mean, there's good beaches and good water, but it's not.
Sweet.
Yeah, kids ride around on bicycles and stuff and just kind of hang out, not so dense, and you got to be so vigilant. Just it's kind of neighborhood on the beach. It's pretty cool.
Sweet. Your nieces and nephews are going?
Yeah, the whole clan, man.
Nice.
We're gonna have grandma, 2 sisters, 9 nieces and nephews, 1 house, 1 dog. Gonna be cool.
Yeah, man. How many guys are going to be down there? You're like the only.
My brother will be there, but he'll be in the house next door. He actually
cool.
has some common sense. Yeah.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Markets and economy. Yeah. One headline invalidates the other. They just seem to be like going.
Yep.
Playing like a headline ping pong. Young adults put pandemic savings toward down payments. Right?
Right.
The risk of taking cash out taking out cash against a home in today's market. USA Today, Linda Fluffy. Let's see. So, number of affordable places to live hits lowest point in 2 years.
Now this line seems like an oxymoron. A wave of new agents swarm New York City market amid inventory shortage.
Yeah.
Maybe they just like each other. Like they don't want to sell houses.
They heard they can get some free food on tour dates.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. 900 agents. More than 900 agents in May. Data company. I like these tech names and medicine names. Corify. And greater than any seen over the course of the pandemic came as New York eased some COVID restrictions. It's natural to be attracted to an industry like real estate. Really? Really? Where the barrier of entry is not as high, but the opportunities are really big. All right. They may struggle to make headway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't quit your day job.
No.
As an actress. Rising home prices may be crimping demand for purchase mortgages. Okay. You got me. Demand for mortgages fell to the lowest level since May of 2020. Forever ago. Could be a sign that first-time home buyers are getting squeezed out. All right.
Yeah, I think everybody who wanted to move and could get a mortgage has pretty much been doing it. A lot of people that if they haven't gotten something now amid the craze, I don't know. There's just still a whole lot of people that are actually eligible that are still hunting.
Well, you'd think that until this next headline, Dave.
Oh yeah, right.
Pending home sales rise 8%.
Yeah.
All right. I want my $20 per month back.
Yeah.
All right. This is the NAR guy. Pending home sales climbed 8% in May, after declining in April. I don't know. This is like was a surprise.
It was a surprise.
It's attracting buyers due to declining mortgage rates. Thank you. Which fell below 3%. Alrighty then. We believe existing home sales are going to see a much harder year-over-year comparisons for the remainder of the year. Gosh, this is like could go on USA Today.
Yeah, as USA Today wrote today, reported.
Home price grows, new record. Yeah, this is real crap advice. I'm going to cancel it. Oh, all right. Well, if you weren't confused enough, Dave,
Here we
why home prices aren't
Why is it so high? Why is it so high? It's not. It just seems
really not.
That's how it appears on paper, but it's not that high.
It just appears that way.
Yeah, it's a numbers trick.
All right. Topics of inflation. Here, we're going to confuse you some more. Before I get going, I want to thank blah, blah, blah. Let's look at home prices over the past 3 decades. The chart. Yeah. The average reader's going to look at those charts, David.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what it does over time. Okay. All right. I'm seeing median, down, and up. You see, it doesn't look that high, right, David?
No, it's not high.
It's just going
$60,000.
It's almost going horizontal. It's like
yeah. I am a little skeptical how all the dips are exactly the same. Like
they got a 3-year-old up there with a marker started drawing alligator teeth.
Yeah. Or any teeth kind of going up. Yeah.
All right, where's the part where he says it's not really a high? In the 90s, price rose by over 45%.
The 90s.
Yeah. And this was followed by a significantly faster pace of appreciation as the housing bubble was really getting inflated. The price is soaring by over 68% between the start of the decade and its ultimate peak in summer of 06. All right, now they're going to say our percentage isn't that high, right? Let's see what it says. But from 2012 to today, sales prices have shot up by more than 126%. A remarkable number. I would add that prices are up by over 42% since the end of 2017. Yada, yada. Interesting. Well, to me at least, the number of homes sold has actually bottomed out in 2010. Or cheap. All right. In 2010, it was so cheap. You could actually buy a home in many markets for less than it cost to build that very same home.
Well, that's exactly true today as well. I mean, building costs are through the freaking roof.
Right.
I ordered a lumber package I priced out a lumber package to do like a 700 square foot tiny house, and I was prepared to pay double, but it was 3.5 times what I thought it would land. What was normal. It was insane. That was just the lumber. It wasn't everything else.
That's on a small square footage place, right?
Yeah, 700 square foot, a little tiny house.
All right, now here's where we get to the crux of the argument, David. Finally, it's not that high. It's because it's got this X coming down on it.
Yeah. Where are we? Are we right there on the X, or are we up there by home prices increased 260?
2021, yeah.
Yeah, we're there, but it's not that high.
It's got that X going through it. All right. Home prices versus mortgage rate. All right. But in that same period, they've fallen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I see where he's going with this. I see where he's going.
All right. Tell me.
If you're qualified to get a mortgage, then your payments are cheaper than they've ever been compared to how much house you can get. If you're not qualified to get a mortgage, you're pooched. You're screwed. If you're not making, 200 grand, 700 credit score, got a down payment, you're SOL. It is truly more expensive than it's ever been for you. But if you can get that sweet 30-year 3%, your payment is probably comparatively lower to where it would have been in 2002 for the same house.
Thank you. Who is going to read this article? I'm ready to see a cross-sex modulator come up on the screen.
Yes.
All right. Good job. You made up for your fluffy USA Today articles. Renters were already feeling better. Then the eviction ban was extended. What's that? They got better? They felt greater? All right, I give up. This is not productive. Probably get more out of Facebook scroll.
Yeah. Millennials and baby boomers are upbeat about current housing market. Yeah, because they're selling their 4.2s. They're getting the hell out.
I love it. This is great.
This is amazing. I'm gonna live out of my Honda.
They could feel like the homecoming queen for a minute.
Yeah.
Homebodies hampering housing market.
Say, homebody, come off that house, dog. Y'all hampering this market.
I can't move. Ah.
Say, homebodies, come off that house. Yeah, these guys are, they're headline fishing. I mean, putting stuff out there that might, if we read a little bit of it, we got something to talk about over coffee or lunch, maybe wow a buyer's ears or something. But most of this is all headline after headline, is just talking about the other juxtaposition.
Well, this I don't think that this is
they're just scraping. Yeah.
I don't think it's mainstay of what they got going on. They're trying to troll for agents to do more business.
How are the agents in your market doing?
I have no clue, to be honest. I know they're working hard if they're buyer's agents.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I think it's hard to differentiate yourself in that industry.
Yeah.
It's like, we got the MLS. I'm cuter. I mean, I don't know.
I throw the best open houses.
Right.
Have you ever been to one of her open houses? It's amazing.
Just the way that she makes you feel.
The sandwiches, the candles. It's amazing.
Have you ever haunted some of those?
I've had to do a few of them, and I've stopped by a couple times just looking to see what was on the market, and a couple times I had buyers that wanted to go, and I mean, it was, I don't know, man, like weddings and funerals and open houses without alcohol should not be permitted. Like bring some booze, people. Like, this is horrible.
Yeah. We pretend we're colleagues.
Yeah, we've got the disclosure over here. We've got some contracts with the property description and legal description already on it. So if you want to make an offer, just put your number on it.
If everybody on the way out can put some comments that help the price down with the seller.
Yeah.
That used to be like a meal ticket. I mean, you still could. I just got embarrassed at eating everybody's food.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we were in town with you once, and they were doing like the realtor, the open house tour. There were like that one day, there were 4 or 5 different open houses all in one spot.
Did we go eat?
I think they were out of food, but it was the promise of food that got us over there, but it was still cool.
Yeah. The Phillies get hit up to bring drinks and food just so I can get in touch with some people. It's all about, I mean, it's I guess it makes a difference if you're doing a deal with somebody you know in your town.
Yeah.
Well, you want to add anything to it? We had some laughs. It was lighthearted.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. What was the name of that book again? Confessions of a Real Estate Entrepreneur. How far have you gotten into it?
I don't know. I got it forever ago. I just pulled it out. It's like, what kind of crap am I going to put on a YouTube channel? And then I got into it, and it's like, man, I could diagram these and it'd be real valuable.
Is he talking about deals he's been a part of?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one. And
Okay.
and next chapter gets into holding entities. So just the basics of investing. I mean, I think we can go into a, a varied subject, but I think it's a great opportunity for me to drill down on some books that I honestly don't take as much from them as I should.
Yeah. Yeah. I get stuck in a lot of books that are just like fluff, just like you can do it, 10% down and keep trying, keep swinging, get the right mental attitude and wake up early. Uh, and sometimes I just like more of almost the textbook. Here's the deal. Here's how it broke down. Here's how we screwed up. Here's what we could have done better. I hate it. I especially hate it when somebody's writing and they have their math wrong. And I'm like double checking. I'm like, you didn't make any money. And they're like, we made $10,000. You're like, no, you didn't. At least your math doesn't say that. Because I'm sitting there doing it, trying to figure it out, following along. So I really respect the author that actually breaks down a legit deal and diagrams, the whole thing. I really like that. There was one book, it's an old book, but How I Turned $10,000 into $1 million or something. It's like a 1980s publication. But he was the first one that I actually read that was like, I felt like I was getting real information rather than just, we paid 60 grand for it and we sold it for $80,000 and we made a profit. It's like holding costs, commissions, what? Like, you made $20,000. They kind of hit you with that flip this house mentality.
Yeah,
You didn't make any money. So.
And I know the real estate and bigger pockets. I mean, they got some heavy hitters on there, but I mean, honestly, it becomes circular if you're putting out that kind of content. You're going to end up wanting to start a capital fund.
Yeah.
I think once you got some basics, then the other stuff's like motivation. I mean, you can flesh out some more of your skill set, but being able to write a contract and having the strength to go out and talk to somebody, I think, are two major pillars of getting real estate.
Yes, that's something maybe you could help me with. I don't know if we have time to answer it tonight, but that $1 million question. I got a guy says, "Hey, I've been watching you for 5 years. Let's do something. Draw me up a pro forma. I got $1 million I want to place with you. I need an 8% return. And what I don't have is money to go to foreclosure sales on a regular basis. To have that though, I need it, and he needs to basically put it in an account that I have access to.
Yep.
And that's it. That's the end of the story. And I'm wondering, work you up a pro forma. I mean, normally a pro forma is, Main Street 1, 2, 3. We're going to buy it for X. We're going to rent it for Y. Expenses are going to be A, B, and C. Here's our NOI. And I don't have a pro forma to work up for them in the traditional sense, other than just put some money in the bank, give me the number.
I can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, what do? You put that in a spreadsheet?
No, I think I'm going to go find some unicorns for you. You just keep that little old money there.
Yeah.
But evidently big money doesn't think that way. As soon as it leaves their hands, they're looking for a return.
I know. So I'm still wrestling with that because, I mean, if I find something and I have time to contract it, I can find lenders. I don't need that money, and it's like, and I can find other people that I would rather work with than him because he wants to stay in deals. He wants appreciation and depreciation and, some longer term stuff. But it's just kind of it's deflating to have that phone call, have that conversation and not know, yes, I can put you here,
I heard about these tiny houses.
Yeah, right. Lumber's cheap. Let's go build like 20 of them.
I think for that guy, you're gonna have him keep his money in his account, and you're gonna have to do something that you can repeat. Like, I'm gonna talk to 20 foreclosures a period, and just find what your numbers are, your output numbers. Like, it takes me 30 offers to get one, and then you just try to go from there. I don't know about being able to stay in your market. You might be able to stay in your market and do it, but to have that kind of money working, I think you got to go outside of your area.
Yeah. And I don't know, because what always happens is, Rachel and I've got a small amount of cash to work with. It takes us a month and a half to get something. We get it, and now we're out. Since the capital's deployed, we're out. We're not looking at anything for the next 2 or 3 months. Because now we're working on this project, trying to make a disposition, trying to do a rehab, get it refinanced, whatever it is. So I mean, in the past probably 2.5 years of chasing these, we've only bought 3 at the steps. They've all been home runs, but if we had more money lined up on a consistent basis, we wouldn't be stuck to, hitting those home runs and running those bases, just trying to do base hits, making 15, 20 grand a pop. I know Julie Harrison and Bob LaCroix, I bump into them every sale. I mean, they're walking up with the book of checks and they're buying whatever they can buy that fits their buy box.
It's probably a worse margin by some degree. You're looking to hit it out of the park, and they just want to hit.
Yeah, we're 10Xing our money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're paying 10 grand and selling it for 80. We're paying 20 grand and selling it for 100. So 5X, whereas they're paying it, 60 grand and selling it for, 100 after it's fixed up, putting 10 or 15 into it. So yeah, I mean, they're probably getting maybe a 15% return, whereas we're trying to get, triple, quadruple. And that's just the only thing that corners us is the lack of capital. Like we got to hit, we're swinging, out of the park.
And that's exactly the position that Grant Cardone's in, trying to get money for a fund. I mean, obviously he's trying to do it on a different level, but it's the whole world needs somebody to back their play.
Yeah. Is he getting back into acquisitions to hold, or is he doing developments, or is he going to save up money for the foreclosure wave?
No, he's buying stuff, building commercial apartments, office buildings. I mean, he's going after it.
You think Grant's savvy enough to do that deal that we opened up with?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, these are just regular losers off the street.
Well, so is he.
Right.
Grant Cardone.
I wonder if those guys ever have imposter syndrome. Yeah. Can you imagine that's your job? What are you? Motivational speaker.
Oh, this motivational speaker guy again.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, this was a good one, right?
Yeah. Good stuff, man.
All right, that was the second episode of The Wild World of Real Estate. Thank you for listening this far. If you'd like a PDF of the diagram of the commercial deal that we put in there, I'm putting a PDF in the show notes, and hope it's of value to you. Join us next time. Thanks so much.